What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Alolan DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. Last episode we covered the pure rock type Gearlift, and I gave you a choice between two normal types. For today's episode it was a choice between Snorlax and Gumshoos, and unsurprisingly Snorlax won out, so of course that's what we'll cover today. But for next episode we have a choice of two grass types, one Generation 5 and one Generation 7. So from Generation 5 we have Lilligant, and from the Generation 7 corner we have Shinotic. So let me know which one you'd like to see covered next episode by commenting either Lilligant or Shinotic down below in the comments section. But for now, let's jump and have a look at Snorlax. Snorlax is number 143 in the National Pokédex, a pure normal type and the sleeping Pokemon. It is actually 6 foot 11 inches or 2.1 meters tall, so it's pretty big, and weighs 1014.1 pounds or 460 kilograms, so it's pretty heavy as you'd expect. It's in the monster egg group, and the male-female split is more leaning towards the male side, with 87.5% being male and 12.5% being female. Evolution-wise, if we have a look, obviously we have Munchlax as its pre-evolution introduced in Generation 4, which will level up with high friendship and evolve into Snorlax. Looking at Snorlax's base stats, of course, health points are its biggest boon, with 160 in that stat, and the next two being attack and special defense at 110 each. From there it dives very far down to defense and special attack at 65, and then finally speed at 30. So obviously not very fast Pokemon, but more geared to being pretty offensive in terms of physical attack, and pretty bulky with the health points, and a pretty good special defense stat. Of course, physical defense is where you'll let down, so you have to watch out for that and be careful of it, especially because of those physical fighting type attackers. But in terms of abilities, there are actually 3 available for Snorlax. The first of these is the most common, that is, well, sort of the most common I suppose, Immunity, which makes it immune to poison, which is pretty good because being bulky and stuff like that, you wouldn't like getting toxic, and of course being immune to poison is pretty good. Thick Fat, of course, is the other ability which lowers the power of fire and ice type moves, so it's also pretty decent. Yes, okay, it means you have to have another way to counter toxic, but it means you take a lot less damage from any fire and ice type Pokemon, so pretty decent there. Its hidden ability is Gluttony, which means it eats berries earlier, which isn't really that useful. Maybe, if you're holding a berry that reduced an attack or increased your attack, something like that, maybe, who knows, but yeah, not overly helpful. Looking at the pure normal typing, of course, there are no resistances, it's weak to fighting, it's immune to ghosts, and it takes neutral from everything else, so generally it's not an amazing defensive type, and it's not really a good offensive type either, of course, because it only gets stab on normal type moves, and those moves generally aren't very good in terms of coverage, so it's not the best typing, but it's what Snorlax has to deal with, so I suppose it's just, we'll have to manage, I suppose. In terms of the moves you might want to be using on your Snorlax, of course 11 moves are to begin. At level 25 we have Body Slam, pretty good normal type move, 85 base power, and has a chance to paralyze the opponent, so it's pretty damn good there. Then level 28 we have Rest, of course you can also teach this via TM. Rest of course is what Snorlax likes to do best, so you can always rest and then just get your health points back to full. It's really your only health and restoration method, so it's what you have to rely on for most of the time. Then level 33, Sleep Talk, so synergizes quite nicely with Rest there, so you can rest up and then you can Sleep Talk to hopefully use some attacks while you're resting, so it's pretty decent in that sense. And then moving on to the TMs, first we have TM26 Earthquake, pretty good coverage move as always, help patch up that normal type being not the best, so definitely worth thinking about carrying it. And then at TM27 we have a more powerful normal type move in return. Of course you don't have that paralysis chance, but it is more powerful at 102 base damage if of course you have maximum friendship. The last TM is TM42 Facade, yet another normal type move, and Facade is obviously used differently. It's in case you get burned basically. Because you are a physical attacker, someone could say, well, I'm going to burn him, but no, Facade will allow you to then get doubled up to 140 and also works as toxic too, so 140 base power is obviously higher than in return can get you, so you can run it and you can use it, it's just hoping to get that status affliction. Then in terms of egg moves we have Curse. Curse is pretty damn good for you, boosts your physical attack even higher and also boosts your physical defense, which is pretty patchy, so you can raise that up a little bit at least. Lowers your speed of course, but speed is, we don't really care about speed at all, so yes of course. And then the other egg move we have here is Pursuit. This can help patch up that speed a bit, and you can switch in on some ghost types and get a Pursuit off when they go to switch out. Not the highest base power, but of course it's just general coverage I suppose. Then we have one tutor move as well for Auras. Of course, as with the tutor moves, you will not be able to use this in certain formats because simply it's a tutor move for Auras, it's not Sun Moon sourced. But if you want to run it, it is Fire Punch, and of course more coverage for you, 75 base power, so it's pretty decent in that sense, just allowing you to hit some more Pokemon with some super effective attacks basically. So if we're moving on to the competitive sets for Snorlax, we have two here. The first one is your attacking set, your full offensive one I suppose you could say, but also being fairly bulky, whereas the second one is pretty much full offensive, so bulk and attacking and then full offensive. In terms of the moveset for the first one, we have Curse, Return or Body Slam, Rest, and then Sleep Talk or Earthquake. Ability is Thick Fat, Nature is a careful one, and the held item is Leftovers. EVs, we have 188 health points, 176 in special defense, and 144 in physical defense, so it's a nice spread there. Looking at the moves, of course, Curse is what you want to spam as much as possible because being bulky and being tanky, defense is your letdown because of course you will take a lot of damage from that sort of class, I suppose you could call it. So you want to be using Curse as much as possible and also boost up your physical attack too, so it's hardly something to turn your nose up at. In terms of the next slot, we also have of course Curse or Return or Body Slam rather. So again, this is up to you, personal choice. Return gives you a bit more power, whereas Body Slam has a chance to paralyze, so you could hope for the paralysis and then take advantage of that if it comes up. Rest is the next slot because we need some way to help restore health points in case we get knocked down by a physical attack pretty early on. And the last slot can either carry Sleep Talk, which you can use to get more curses off and more hopefully Return or Body Slams off while you're asleep, or you can run Earthquake, which just gives you a bit more coverage because otherwise you're going to get completely walled by any ghost type Pokemon. Thick Fat is chosen as the ability here because Gluttony, if we're not using a barrier, it's not really useful, and Immunity, yes, okay, you could run it cool, it would stop you getting toxic, but we have Rest here, which will alleviate any poison if we use it, so it's not really a huge issue. Then in terms of Nature, Careful is going to boost our special defense even higher for us, so why not make us really tanky? We have Curse to short the physical side, and Leftovers is the held item of course, because we need to have a restoration that's not Rest, because otherwise we will drop down fairly quickly, so that's there to shore that up a bit. And as mentioned, the EV spread is really quite ranged. We have health points, special defense and physical defense to raise those defenses and give us general bulk as well. In terms of using this set, you've got to go in, you've got to Curse, you've got to Rest when you need to, you've got to Curse some more, and then you start attacking them. Hopefully you'll get to that stage and just be able to not sort of roll over the team, because Snorlax couldn't roll over to save its life, but start doing some decent damage to the opponent. If we then look at the second set, which is all out attacking, in terms of moves we have Return, Facade, Earthquake, and then Fire Punch or Pursuit, depending on whether you want to go for tutor moves or not. Thick Fat is the ability once again, Adamant Nature this time, Choice Band is the held item, and then EV wise we have maximum attack, maximum special defense, and then summon health points. So the idea here is just to go in and throw some nukes off. So we have Return as a standard strong move, we also have Facade because if you do get poisoned or you get burned, this will allow you to hit them for even more damage, and it's worth the extra slot for the situations where you could have this. Earthquake is there for coverage, and then finally Fire Punch or Pursuit is up there for just general coverage again. Fire Punch obviously decent coverage against steel types, otherwise, well, you have Earthquake steel types, you guys get the idea though. And then Pursuit is there for ghost types, for example. Thick Fat once more, you could run Immunity as well, but Thick Fat generally is better here because we want to be poisoned. Really, if possible, we can just throw some nukes off as we slowly get withered down, that's fine by us. We have the Adamant Nature rather than Careful or something else because we want to be really powerful here. We could get knocked out by one or two physical attacks, so really we want to get as much damage off as possible in as much short little time as possible. So the Adamant Nature synergizes with the Choice Band there, and also the maximum attack EVs for a lot of power. And of course special defense is boosted up here because you want to be using this into special defensive Pokemon. You don't want to go into physical types. You want to be spotting a special attacker and thinking, ha, I'm gonna lock him in, or I'm gonna back him into a corner where they only have special attackers left, go in, and then let's tank up 2 or 3 hits and then throw my nukes back and they won't have anything to counter it. So that's what you want to go for here. And of course we then have a few leftover health points because why not, it's Snorlax, it needs a health points EVs, otherwise that just feels wrong. In terms of using the set, of course it's a choice band set, so you have to be careful what you choose. If they have a ghost type on the team, for example, think and maybe go, okay, I'm going to just spam some Earthquakes for a bit, I'm not going to return to start off. Tactical like that, we can just go and return, and if, in case they switch to ghost type in, you switch them out and then you just play it like that, of course. And of course you don't really want to go in and Facade straight away, you don't want to lock yourself into Facade because then they're not going to poison you, they're not going to burn you. You want to go and use Return, for example. If you do get poisoned or burned, you want to switch out, keep your Snorlax for later on, be a bit sly about it, and then throw it out again and hit them with that very powerful move. Of course, if they have Toxic Spike set up, you can use that to your advantage and switch in for Snorlax onto it and just say, ha, yes you poisoned me, but I don't care. You can just take these attacks and hopefully do some decent damage to them. Of course, the choice of span sets, you have to be careful. You can't really just like roll over and just like switch back and forth, so you have to play a bit defensive. If they switch a Pokemon you're not going to do anything with return, if you're locked into that, you want to switch out really, it's a good thing to do. So you don't play it strategic, I suppose you could say. But that is going to be it for Snorlax this week, or this episode I should say, guys. As always, don't forget to vote for next episode of Pokemon, either Lilligant or Shinotic, so let me know down below in the comment section which you would like to see. But for now, this is going to be it for today, so I shall be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching, goodbye my friends.